One of the things that I've come to notice about myself is that whenever I'm doing a project or let's say I'm like working on my car or something, I usually like to be able to do it myself. And if I don't know what I'm doing, well then I'm going to find out myself. You know, I could go to someone who I know will probably, be able to help me out and would know what they're doing. And there are people in my life who do know that, but I'd rather, probably a little bit of pride in there, be able to do it myself and say that I did it. Probably would have been easier, probably went a lot quicker if I had gotten help from someone else. The woman we hear about in the gospel today, she had hemorrhages for many years. She went to try and seek help from many different people. In a certain way, we could look at this as she was trying to find the solution to her problem on her own. She was trying to search for the answer on her own. Perhaps the story we hear in the gospel is something that may not be so unfamiliar to us. Maybe there's things we look for that try to heal us. Maybe there's something that maybe not necessarily heal us, but maybe something we try to search for to make us happy or give us fulfillment or to give us a sense of purpose. Having been in seminary for the past 7 years, one thing I've noticed, kind of a common experience perhaps, not uncommon, or fairly common I should say, is that, there's kind of that question of, for a young man, do I have what it takes to be a priest? Am I smart enough? Do I study hard enough to be a priest? Am I social enough? Am I outgoing enough to be a priest? Am I fit? Am I active? Am I healthy enough to be a priest? Do I dress well? Do I say all the words correctly? Do I do that good enough to be a priest? Now, all these things are good. We have to study. We have to know what we're saying. You have to be social. Part of being a priest means talking to people. And you also have to make sure you're taking care of yourself as well. But one of the things too is that if we try to search these, like if the priesthood is determined on how well I do these specific things, then we miss the bigger point. And these concerns we have, maybe these are concerns that aren't just unique to seminarians. Maybe this is something that we've all felt one time or another. I think one example I take from that is the feeling is that concern about, am I social enough? Do I have enough friends? This idea that, if we have enough people in our lives, if we find the perfect person to be our spouse, then we'll never be alone. In other words, if we have these people, that'll be the answer to my problem, my answer to my worry about being lonely. And that loneliness is something that we've all experienced one time or another, and it's something that none of us like. But talk to a couple who's been married for 25, 30 years. Talk to someone who probably is, extroverted, social, has a lot of friends. And they'll probably tell you that there have been times where they felt lonely. These things that maybe we thought would be the answer to our problem and we would never have to worry about. Turns out it didn't really fix the problem in the long run. The woman, she tried many different things to heal herself. She tried many different means, many different persons. She went to many different persons. And time again, it didn't answer, it didn't solve her problem. It only got worse. And then she finally goes to our Lord. And as she goes to the Lord, the one thing that kind of sticks out to us in the gospel that's noted is that she's afraid. The Lord responds, who touched me? Who touched my cloak? And the woman, maybe she's afraid about what the Lord is saying. Maybe she thought, I shouldn't have done that. I should have just walked away and forgot about this. I should have just went on my own and tried to figure this out myself. But she approaches the Lord. And our Lord, He doesn't rebuke her. He gives her His peace, and He sends her away with that peace. Our Lord heals her of this disease. And one thing we notice in the Gospels too is that when our Lord heals the sick, one thing we see throughout the Gospels is that not only does He heal them, but He also does the greater work of forgiving them of their sins. Despite the fear she had approaching Jesus, peace. Maybe there's been times where we were afraid of approaching the Lord. Maybe we were afraid of approaching Him in the confessional, approaching Him for confession. We were probably embarrassed about what we had to say. Maybe we were worried that the priest was going to yell at us. Maybe we have been. Maybe there's been times where a priest has yelled at us and we're afraid of it happening again. But just like the woman who approached the Lord without fear, she approached the Lord with confidence. May we have that grace, may we have that strength to approach the Lord with confidence as well. And the Lord healed her. She received what she needed from the Lord. And so maybe for maybe those experiences in our own lives where we have that need, maybe we're feeling lonely, maybe that's the opportunity, maybe that's the Lord, maybe there's an opportunity there for the Lord inviting us to spend time with our Lord Jesus, inviting us to spend time with Him here in this church, which, as we know, He is truly present here in the tabernacle. Maybe if we're having that feeling of, maybe I feel like I need a sense of purpose. I need a reason to live. I need that reason. Oftentimes, I think people try to find that in their job or their career. A career gives you purpose, and maybe it is a good job. Maybe that career does a lot of good. And praise God for that. But at the end of the day, we don't have that career forever. We eventually retire. So perhaps maybe when we're trying to search for that sense of purpose, that meaning in our life, perhaps that's the Lord inviting us to turn to Him. Because the fact is, through our baptism, we've been called to glorify God for all eternity in heaven. That's what the meaning, that's the purpose of our life. And so when we have that desire for meaning, maybe that's the Lord inviting us to grow deeper in prayer with Him. Even if it's just a minute or two each day. At the end of the day, for example, giving thanks to the Lord for the gift of this day. The woman in the gospel, she approached the Lord with her need, and the Lord gave her what she needed. The Lord gave her that peace. In our own lives, in our own